Commission will come to order at 18:05 hours. Gail, could you lead us in Pledge of Allegiance, please? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ma'am. We do have a quorum, Ron, Karen, Gail, and myself, so we're good to go there. Any comments from the individual commission members? Ron?
None.
Karen?
Nope.
Gail?
None.
No. And my understanding is Bob is on a family emergency at his property trying to clean up, so he's not here tonight, but we wish him all the best. Approval of the minutes for August 8th, 2022. I know you've all been given those electronically and in person. Do we have any discussion or corrections? Hearing no request for discussions or correction, I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Ron, we have a first. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Gail. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, moving on. Unfinished business, none. We're going to be moving on to new business. We have quite a bit of items compared to normal tonight. Chief is going to give us an introduction to items A, B, C, and D and E, and then we're also adding a letter F, which is a request for a change of meeting, and we will cover that when we get down there. Chief, if you would, please.
Absolutely, thank you. So thank you, commission members, for meeting this evening. Gary Woodruff, Chief of Lawrence Police, just for folks who aren't here in the room. We're proposing several changes, a few amendments to our Merit Commission rules. We've worked with council on this, and to give you an idea of the genesis of the reason for these changes. The hiring these changes or amendments specifically apply to the hiring process, and these are actually brought forth to us from the membership, from the FOP, and they attended some seminars of interest within the FOP, and also interacting with other agencies and other lodges. Found some things we can do with our hiring process. We think that could result in a streamlined and a improved hiring process with a few of these amendments. It's not going to take. The amendments are not really drastic, and they certainly are not overstepping the statutory authority, and hopefully council can speak to that. But working, there was a committee that was formed with Captain Schneider, the professional standards captain who's ran our hiring processes for years with the FOP, and that committee has put literally months of work into researching this, and I shared a rather voluminous email with council in regards to the changes that they were recommending and all of the research and background that they put into this. I mean, the amount of hours and time that they put in to this is really remarkable, and what we would like to do is not only make these amendments, but the big picture is to be able to use or consider using a different vendor for a couple of our processes, in particular our written testing and our oral interviews. In particular, we've used the same vendor for the last several years. Competition is never a bad thing, and we think for us to be able to use this new vendor, we need to make a few amendments to the rules of the Merit Commission, which are in front of you today in red. And we've spoken with President Wheeler about this with council as well, and briefed him on some of the changes. But that's the overall big picture genesis of it. These updates and amendments will allow us to remain competitive with other agencies that we are literally competing against in hiring processes for the top tier talent. Our police department is a terrific police department. We all know that. We have great support, great community support. Right now, we're allocated for 65 sworn members. We're working at 57 right now. So you think about it, that's almost an entire shift that we are down. So this will be the second hiring process that we've conducted for this year. And part of the task of this committee that was formed was to seek ways that we can improve and streamline that process, not just in the short term, but in the long term for years to come. And this is a new vendor to us anyway, that we're looking at considering, highly recommended, or at least recommended certainly, from the committee and from the FOP in particular. And we think it's a good step in the right direction. Really good thing also is if we try this vendor this first time and it doesn't work out the way we think it's going to work out, we can always go back to the previous vendor. We're not doing this because there's anything particularly wrong or inappropriate with the previous vendor. We just think that there's a different way to do things, and this certainly helps streamline our process. Some of the materials that Captain Schneider has prepared for us, but we start our process literally tomorrow. We can move on with some of the process, and we can actually potentially be looking at creating our eligibility list sometime in January. That's moving ahead very quickly. Typically, our process takes anywhere from 8 to 9 months, and we're looking at potentially getting this one done in a matter of 3 or 4 months. And part of that is and that's without lowering our standards also. I want to make that very clear. We are not going to lower our standards of hiring at all. A couple of the specific details as far as this new vendor is concerned that I was briefed on were that the written testing and the oral testing, the way they oversee those and then provide those test questions, result in a better screening of applicants, a higher quality of applicants that are screened through, and other agencies in the area are using this vendor as well. Carmel PD, to be specific, is using them. Fishers Police Department, and a list of several other agencies, and they've had very good results with using this new vendor as the outside third-party vendor for to help oversee and provide the written testing and the oral interview questions. So we think this is a win-win all the way around. Sorry to be kind of going on here, but I wanted to let you know what the genesis of this was, and also to commend and recognize the work that the committee, this hiring process committee, has put in. They've really done tremendous effort in doing this, and with great detail. So, Mr. President, do you want to go through some of the
Yes, we will. We're going to go ahead.
one at a time?
Yeah, if you could, I'd invite you to go ahead and stay for any questions. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that Article 1 item that Caitlin found for us when we were reviewing all this, got our notification. So we'll get rid of that one first, and then we'll move to Article 2. So item number 8, proposed amendment to Police Merit Commission Rules, Article 1, Section G7. Our old one stated, amendments to the rules shall take effect upon such a time as all members of the department have been furnished copies. Within 15 days after their adoption, whichever occurs later, the chief will inform the commission of the date on which they have been furnished with all the members of the department. Our legal found during the review of these things in item B that we were not following the statute as stated, and it needs to read, amendments of the rules shall take effect 30 days after their adoption if copies have been furnished to all members of the department within that period. Otherwise, they do not take effect until copies are furnished and all members of all department, this is fairly straight up and down. We just need to make ourselves correct here. So is there any discussion on item A, amendment of Article 1, Section G7, to read as the statute should read? Any discussion? No discussion. Chair will entertain a motion to accept this amendment to the rules. We'll do a roll call vote on this, please.
So moved.
Thank you.
Moved.
Ron?
So moved.
Aye. I vote.
Aye.
Vote. Karen?
But we need a second, or did Ron second that?
I think
Yeah, Ron second. You first, he second.
Okay, thank you. Aye.
Gail?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay, now we're going to move on to, so the motion carries, the amendment is changed. And then obviously, when we're done, get those copies out to everybody. Okay, so Article 2 is will be the section that we will be dealing with in line item B. And as the chief explained to everybody, it basically, I don't mean to overstate it, it basically just means we're wording some things in a way, and correct me if I misrepresent this, that we're not boxing ourselves into a certain way or vendor or procedure. We're putting it so the department and the board, the commission, has latitude, as Chief said, if this doesn't work out, we can move. Otherwise, as it was stated before in one of the items, we would have to change the whole thing. And then if we just put this new company in, then if it didn't work out, then we got to change it again. Or the way it was worded between the committee and council, they've made it in a way that it's a, for the lack of better terms, it's very generic, but one size fits all for what we'll be doing. We're still staying with statute, we're still staying with what we need to have for our protection for our rules, but it enables us to have flexibility as times change, environment changes, testing schemes changes. It enables us to have the flexibility, to have the department to have the flexibility to enable them to recruit from the pool of people. As Chief was stating, normally, I remember when me and you both came on, it was better in a year, and then they got it knocked down to about 6 months to 9 months, but there's still a lot of people walking out the door in that amount of time that are going to other agencies or going to other professions because it just takes time. It needs to take some time, though. That was a discussion we had at our meeting, because that time is a vetting process within itself. We don't want to be hiring police officers like you'd hire the guy that's working the fryer at Hardee's. Yeah, he may do a darn good job of making French fries for us, but there is something to that, showing your due diligence, following the rules, following the procedure over a period of time that enables you to go, yeah, you're already showing the skills that we need. So I feel that what they're presenting is a grand compromise for us being in conjunction with the times that we're dealing with now, giving them the flexibility to recruit the way they need to recruit, and giving us the ability to still hold, which I know the department does too, don't underestimate that, to hold the standards that we need to have held, period. That was the number one thing when we first started this discussion. It didn't even have to come out of my mouth. Chief put it out right away. He said, before we even get started, our standards are not changing. We're just moving the process faster and in a different way. And I couldn't argue with that, because I remember quite a few years ago, you guys came to us and said, hey, we got this new way we're wanting to do things. And I know myself and I know Bob were going, it takes months. We can't do this.
Right.
And you guys did it, and you did a wonderful job, and you've got some wonderful officers on in that process. So,
Yeah, may I interject again?
Yes, sir.
President? In addition to what President Wheeler is indicating, which is all absolutely true, it allows us to remain competitive with these other agencies. We're all competing for the same talent pool now. And our last hiring process, for instance, we had 110 or so applicants indicate interest in joining our department. We had exactly 18 of those people show up at our first physical agility test. Of those, I think 11 passed the physical agility, went on to the written test, and as I recall, 6 or 7 passed. So that's what we were left with. We wound up hiring 3 out of that group, and they're a terrific group of 3, but we needed 9. Mm-hmm. And we were only able to hire 3, and we've had a couple of additional retirements since then, so that's why we're operating at the levels that we're at now. So for us to be able to move a process forward in a more nimble way is going to be a win-win for everyone to help us stay competitive with these other agencies that we're literally competing against for top talent, and without sacrificing the quality of our process. That is, in my mind, and as President Whitler indicated as well, I'm sure everybody would agree, we're not going to sacrifice or lower our standards for expedited processes. We're not going to do that. But we think this draws the balance between the two very effectively.
Chief, just because we know things are very fluid, just as we got the request for item F today, as far as you know, there has been no changes since this last output that we were provided. Still good as far as council is concerned? No changes?
I haven't seen any other changes.
Great.
I think the last one was the one that we already dealt with today that I added.
Yes, ma'am.
That was the last one.
Okay, great. With that being, has all members had review of this electronically prior to the meeting, and they have a written copy during the meeting? Is there any discussion on any of the items? I'm just going to kind of take them as a group versus going line by line. Does anybody have any concerns or discussions that they would like to address to the membership or to the chief or to council, reference any of these amendments? Ron? No. Karen? No. Gail? No? Okay. With that being, as long as there's no objections from the commission, and I already kind of blew this by council at our meeting, that as long as we open for discussion, they had review, and there was no objections, I'm going to request a motion to accept amendments to Article 2 under all sections and all subsections that have been indicated. Have you found any determination why that would not be proper?
That's fine with me as long as everybody's had a chance to review it and can bring up any questions and
Okay.
ask anything they need to.
Motion to accept.
Okay, so we have no objections, we have a motion to accept. Chair will entertain. We have a first from Gail, a second from Ron, so at this point, we will call a roll call vote to accept the proposed amendments to Police Merit Commission Rules, Article 2, as outlined in the draft, electronically and physically presented to you and presented by the department and council. Ron?
Yes.
Karen?
Aye.
Gail?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Unanimous vote, approved. Okay. A lot easier than the last time we did all those, isn't it? Although your people put a lot of behind-the-scenes work in.
Oh, yeah, the work of
A lot.
the committee, Captain Schneider and the entire committee, it just can't be overstated. They did a phenomenal job at researching and presenting the facts here and researching everything out. They really did an amazing job.
I apologize if I overstep. FOP, I know you have had a hand in on this discussion. Are you okay with us doing it as a group, or is there any line items you would like to address from your membership? I apologize for not addressing you earlier. I'm terribly sorry.
All right, yeah, Brandon Raftery, president of Lawrence FOP 159. No, we worked hand in hand with the department on this and these amendments. Like the chief already stated, this information came out of a committee. It came from feedback from the entire membership. So we stand fully supportive of the amendments.
Well, thank you. And again, I should have acknowledged you and asked you that question before we went forward, and I apologize sincerely. I'm very sorry. I just looked up and noticed you were sitting here, so I apologize, but thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on to an item that we've done many, many, many times, and that is the request of the Professional Standards Division Commander, Captain Snyder, to act as the agent on our behalf, the Merit Commission, during this hiring process. Any discussion? No discussion. Chair will entertain a motion to accept line item D.
C.
I'm sorry, C. My apologies. Line item C.
A motion to approve. Second.
We have a first, we have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, line item D. I'm rushing it here. Request that the designated professional service company be Fire and Police Selection Incorporated, otherwise known as FPSI, for both written exam and oral interview. Any discussion on line item D? None being, chair will entertain a motion to accept line item D.
So moved.
Okay, we have Karen and Ron as the first and the second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, and all those opposed? Improves unanimous. I did get that right, didn't I? Those are the voices I heard?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Line item E, request for the police aptitude and character test, the PACT, be adopted as the aptitude test for 365 days at the time of the first written exam is administered. Chief, is there any explanation on that? Any change on that one?
No, that's the new vendor that
Okay.
we're discussing, and the reason for the 365-day request is just to not lock us in. If we decide we want to change vendors after we do this, we're not locked into doing that moving forward. It offers us the continuing flexibility
Right.
to be able to choose.
Any discussions or questions from the commission? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to accept line item E as written.
A motion to accept.
We have a motion from Gail. We have a second from
Second.
Ron. We have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Carries unanimously. Line item F, which was not previously posted on the given agenda, but it was due to some extreme circumstances. Approximately noon, 12:30-ish, I think we first got the recommendation from the captain. She is asking for us to change the November 14th meeting to, trying to get this up so I can read it, the November 14th meeting to cancel that as our stated meeting and turn November 21st into our stated meeting. She does apologize that she had, in her words, spaced that was Thanksgiving week, but her agenda is, as the chief indicated, they're hoping to get out the interest forms open by the 18th, which is tomorrow. Physical agility, tentatively the 19th. Written exam, tentatively the 19th. Tentatively the oral exam on the 20th, and then bring those scores and those things to us on the 21st for an agenda of determining the minimum passing score, where we will, as we have in the past, have the spreadsheets, review the scores, and she has a total of five line items that she wants us to take care of, which is really going to be nothing different than what we've done on the other hiring processes. I did contact Kathy earlier today to see if the room would be, the meeting facility would be available. And matter of fact, the board that Karen sits on will be using it prior to us, but they said there shouldn't be a problem us getting in close to our time at 6 o'clock, 6:15 at the latest. So we did get put on the schedule for that tentatively, as long as we pass it tonight. I took a straw poll to see if we would have a quorum for you. Ron, Karen, and myself, we're definitely going to be here. I have no way of contacting Bob right now. He's, like I said, he's cleaning up from the disaster in Florida, so God bless him and wish him well. So we will have a quorum for you, and we will be able to take care of that on the 21st if your tentative plans still go in that order. So with that,
So we'll cancel the regular meeting and schedule a special meeting.
yeah, we're going to cancel the 14th and just have 21st as our regular meeting. That
That'll be
way-
a special meeting,
Not if we cancel.
because we've already set the schedule
Yeah,
for the year.
you're correct. I
Yeah,
apologize.
you still have to post at
Yeah.
least 48
Still
hours.
has to post. Yeah, that's fine.
Which we will.
Any additions, since it's going to be labeled a special meeting, any additions we really need to have as far projected as possible?
Okay.
So she can get it,
I may well have an addition for you that
Okay.
may require an executive session.
Okay.
At some point too. I'll work with council and you,
Okay.
Mr. President, on doing that, but yeah, I may well have that
okay.
going down the road.
Or yes, sir, we will certainly work that in. So with that being, any discussion reference the changing of the meeting, canceling the meeting on the 14th of November, creating a special meeting on the 21st to address the hiring and application process that Captain Snyder is working with. I hear no discussion or questions. I will then entertain a motion to accept line F as written.
A motion to approve.
We have a first, we have a second.
Second.
We have a first and a second from Karen. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so as of now, ladies and gentlemen, the meeting for the 14th is canceled, and a new meeting of November 21st will be put in its place to conduct that business. And again, anything else that comes up, let us know, 'cause since that's a special, we got to have it all posted. We can't put a line item in.
Absolutely.
Goodness sakes. Okay, any recognitions tonight, or are we going to hold those
Performance
over?
recognition specifically, other than, again, recognizing the members of the committee. A couple of them are in the back, the FOP president, Sergeant Raftery. Detective Brian Sharp was a really big part of bringing a lot of this information forward as far as updating this hiring process. And some of the other members of the committee, I know Deputy Chief Bigsby was on there, Lieutenant Ryan Romerl was on there in addition to Captain Schneider. Jens, was there anybody else on the committee that I'm forgetting? Really, I mean, every member of the department was engaged, and representatives from each shift were represented also. So, very robust effort on part of the membership, and it's exactly what we need. After the last hiring process, we started. We're always looking to improve our processes, but after the last one, we had to take a very hard look. You have 110 indicate interest and have only 18 show up for your first process. It prompts some introspection, to be certain, and we did that. And the committee I can't commend each of the members on there enough. They did an absolutely fabulous job on putting all this together. And in my mind, this is the way things, should work.
We agree, Chief. Even though we had a more stringent rule, we got our stuff out in 15 days to you. Now we're giving 30, but be sure to get these amendments, these full.
Absolutely.
I think we're still at 22 pages, even with these changes. We didn't change our page count, so we'll.
Like it.
Knowing Captain
Okay.
Schneider's, I know her. She has her finger hovering over the send button right now.
Right now, yeah.
Meeting adjourned, she'll be sending it out.
Probably right.
So,
It's kind of the person that she is.
She's already sent me a clean copy of it, so, yeah.
great. So we'll get those out to be in compliance with our Article 1. And with that, we will move to any other side comments, Chief?
None for me, no.
Anybody else in the audience? Mr. President, officer? Nothing? Okay. And at that point, we will adjourn at 18:32 hours.